During the extensive Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, led by the recently retired Chief Justice Raymond Zando, a seemingly minor and easily overlooked testimony came from Candra Five Joan, the listed owner and manager of Asset Movement Financial Services, AMFS. This cash-in-transit company, primarily involved in processing electronic payments between third parties, had acted as a channel for approximately 4 million rand diverted from the airline SA Express through a company known as Corona. While the 4 million rand was a mere drop in the vast sea of state capture and an insignificant fraction of AMFS's overall operations, Zando nonetheless felt compelled to include a recommendation in his final report for the South African Reserve Bank, SARB, to investigate the company, if only he had known the full extent of its activities. Bank statements obtained by Amabungan revealed financial flows of approximately 33 billion rand through AMFS from its establishment in early 2015 to early 2018-2019. A substantial portion of this revenue originated from a small group of gold refineries, with some funds ultimately landing in dubious hands. Notably, evidence indicates that at least 5 billion rand of these transactions consisted of payments to the Krugerrand dealer African Medallion Group, with much of the money seemingly originating from a micro-refinery called the Gold Kid, which used AMFS to facilitate these payments. Alongside these larger transactions, AMFS's bank statements also revealed numerous smaller, one-off deals, such as the Corona transaction mentioned earlier. Among these incidents was a 6 million rand deposit from fugitive pastor Shepherd Bushiri in December 2017, which appears to have been intended for a cash delivery. Beyond the Krugerrand payments, the largest identifiable operation facilitated by AMFS involved the transfer of billions of rand between 2016 and 2019 to Alan Global Trading in Dubai and a few related entities in Dubai and Hong Kong. This intricate scheme was executed through multiple channels, with AMFS serving as a pivotal conduit. Based on the available evidence, it has now been uncovered that this operation saw over 5 billion rand leave South Africa under false pretenses over a 4-year period. This figure is likely an underestimation due to the limited data available. Beyond AMFS, this narrative features a complex web of individuals, financial schemes, and, based on the evidence, a 1 billion rand worth of fictitious gold transactions between South Africa and Dubai. Alan Global Trading, registered in October 2015 by the Gold Kids owner André Gravenstein and infamous money mover Howard Ho Baker, was at the heart of these dealings. AMFS was also established in 2015 with Gravenstein's involvement. He recruited Candra V. Joan from another cash-in-transit company, Rustic Stone Trading 10, which also operated in the gold industry. Joan became AMFS's sole shareholder, and the company was headquartered at the Gold Kid's premises in Nigel. From its inception, the Gold Kid became AMFS's primary client, although AMFS would later expand its services to other similar gold businesses, many of which were investigated by SARS for alleged tax fraud. These three entities, the Gold Kid, Alan Global Trading, and AMFS, are closely linked through Gravenstein and Baker. Investigations by Amabungan and other media outlets have revealed connections between Alan's gold network and the alleged proceeds of illegal cigarette sales involving the Gold Leaf Tobacco Corporation. Gold Leaf, controlled by Simon Rudland and his partner Abraham Adam, has denied any wrongdoing and is contesting a 2022 SARS preservation order against the company and its directors. Amabungan obtained over 5,000 emails sent by Baker to Joan between September 2015 and 2017, detailing payment instructions. A particularly significant subset of 134 emails directed Joan to make payments to an FNB account with the reference Sassen Payment. In each instance, Veronica Schubach, then manager of the Gold Kid, was copied. Evidence from bank statements confirms that the funds for these Sassen payments, at least on paper, originated from the Gold Kid's refinery. Tracing the money trail through the bank statements reveals the flow of these funds. Payments started from the Gold Kid's account, with 4 transactions totaling just under 26 million rand in a single day. These amounts, identifiable by matching reference numbers, were then transferred into AMFS's account. From there, the directed sum of 17,450,673 rand was paid out to Sassen, as specified in Baker's emails. Another payment of 9 million rand is also made, though this is not central to our focus here. Its inclusion simply accounts for why a total of 26 million rand was initially transferred. Now we turn our attention to Sassen itself, specifically its transactional account held at FNB, the account referenced in Baker's email. At that time, Sassen was not a traditional transactional bank, but managed accounts across all the major banks. Sassen received client funds through these various banks before transferring them abroad. At FNB, the 17,450,673 rand payment from AMFS is recorded, and on the same day, this amount is transferred to Sassen's account at Nedbank, combined with smaller payments received that day. This reflects Sassen's practice of pooling funds from multiple accounts into one centralized location for outbound payments. At Nedbank, the payment is again recorded, and later, the exact amount requested by Baker is sent offshore to Elan Global Trading with the reference Gold Leaf Tobacco Corp., linking it to Rudland and Adam G's cigarette company. This reference raises suspicions that Gold Leaf was either directly involved in or the ultimate recipient of the funds, though the company denies any connection. Regardless, this transaction pattern can be traced at least 134 times with varying supplier references, amounting to a total of 2.7 billion rand. The transfers were justified using invoices for purported imports generated by Salt Asset Management, a firm linked to Baker and Gravenstein through their associates, Mohammed Khan and Soleh Jani. Many of these invoices were evidently fabricated, with some even featuring Elan's banking details pasted onto legitimate invoices from other companies. But the scheme didn't end there. Sending money offshore under false pretenses was just the beginning. A significant portion of these payments appears to have entered a perplexing circular system. On closer examination, it becomes clear that much of the money Baker directed to Elan through Sassen was for gold that existed only on paper. Returning to the 17,450,673 rand payment, we see it move from the Gold Kid to Sassen's account at Nedbank, and then offshore to Elan's account. Elan's bank statements confirm the amount's arrival, still bearing the same reference to Gold Leaf Tobacco Corporation. Another payment of over 20 million rand arrives at the same time, also linked to Gold Leaf. However, Elan's account is quickly drained, with outgoing payments all marked Gold Kid, referring back to the original source of the funds. These outgoing payments from Dubai return to South Africa, appearing in the Gold Kid's accounts, only to be immediately transferred onward. Tracing these movements shows the funds eventually return to AMFS, just in time for Baker to issue another instruction to send them back to Sassin, restarting the entire process. This reveals the true nature of the scheme: a circular flow of money moving from the Gold Kid to Elan and back again. The question is, why create such an elaborate cycle? A key clue lies in the payment references used to return money to the Gold Kid. Each payment is marked with AL, followed by sequential numbers. In Elan's account, for example, we see payments labeled AL67 through AL69, which also appear in the Gold Kid statements when the money is received. Analyzing the Gold Kid statements uncovers many more AL payments, beginning as early as January 2016, shortly after Elan was established. Over the course of 2016, at least 1.17 billion rand was funneled into the Gold Kid's account through these AL payments. A far-reaching SARS audit of the Gold Kid's operations has revealed that payments to Sassin and offshore to Elan were often disguised as transactions to South African suppliers of scrap gold. The Gold Kid appeared to be fabricating gold purchases alongside its legitimate gold dealings. Evidence supporting this includes VAT invoices used by the Gold Kid for supposed payments to scrap gold suppliers, which in reality matched transactions made to Sassin or other entities unrelated to the suppliers. For example, on the day funds were routed to Elan, the Gold Kid claimed in its tax reports to SARS that it was paying a supplier named Buse Suzo Scrap. These reports listed the supposed payments along with VAT that was supposedly paid. On the other side of the equation, SARS audits of the Gold Kid's sales records showed it declared exports to Elan totaling approximately 1.1 billion rand, an amount suspiciously similar to the money cycling between South Africa and Dubai. This suggests the Gold Kid was allegedly transferring funds to Elan under the pretense of domestic gold purchases. The same funds were then funneled back to the Gold Kid, while documentation falsely showed it exporting gold to Elan. The evidence indicates that both the purchases and sales of gold were often fabricated, with no actual gold changing hands in quantities that matched the financial transactions. The likely objective was to fraudulently claim VAT refunds on fictitious gold exports, which are zero-rated for VAT. These refunds were supposedly based on fake gold purchases that included VAT. This system seems to have been fully operational in 2016, but by 2017, it becomes harder to trace payments through Sassin. This is partly due to the Gold Kid switching banks from Absa to Standard Bank, where the distinctive AL references disappeared from statements. In 2018 and 2019, another laundering operation surfaced, centered on the now liquidated Khabib Overseas Bank. In early 2018, a company named PKSA Finance, owned by Mohammed Khan and Soleh Jani, both associates of Baker, opened an account at Khabib. Over the course of the year, PKSA received nearly 1.4 billion rand, most of which was transferred to Elan. Simultaneously, another entity, Ovenbird, opened an account at Khabib, which received 370 million rand in under 2 months, with most of it also going to Elan. In 2019, a new front called Actinic was established, opening multiple bank accounts and funneling funds to Elan. A SARS audit revealed that Actinic was financed by Baker. Combined with earlier schemes involving Sassin, total payments to Elan exceeded 4.5 billion rand over 3 years. Much of the money came from AMFS and, by extension, the Gold Kid. Notable among these sources was another shadow bank, Ren Content, in Transito, and a refinery named Metal and Hancor. Ren's involvement extended beyond gold. linking it to alleged tobacco smugglers connected to Baker and Simon Rudland, a prominent figure in the illicit tobacco trade. Records show that Wren acted as a conduit for payments on behalf of a company called Baypass Logistics, which funneled 324 million rand into AMFS for the purchase of Krugerrands on Baker's behalf. Baypass, a multi-million rand company, raised red flags. Its sole director was a bottle store employee who also served as director for 7 other logistics companies. Efforts to trace the true force behind Baypass led directly to the illicit tobacco trade between Zimbabwe and South Africa. Internal records from Wren list Baypass's contact as JC, tied to an unreachable Zimbabwean phone number and email. Attached to this contacts file was a letter from Wren's owner, Christo Janza van Rensburg, asking for a formal, backdated letter on Baypass letterhead, referencing services rendered to Gold Leaf Tobacco Corporation starting in July 2018. Gold Leaf, owned by Rudland and Adam G., has long denied wrongdoing. Evidence suggests Baypass became Gold Leaf's conduit for channeling payments to South African recipients via Wren. The individual who registered Baypass provided an email for the buyer, identified as Roy Mula. This appears to be the same Roy Mula whose company, Verbena Freight and Logistics, was accused by SARS of owing 19 billion rand in customs duties related to tobacco smuggling. The link is further supported by Mula's alleged use of Verbena and 7 other companies for paper imports of tobacco, aligning with the existence of 7 suspicious logistics firms under the same unlikely director. Baypass's ties to Gold Leaf make its broader client list even more intriguing, potentially implicating additional entities in this intricate web of illicit financial activity. The intricate financial web involving the Gold Kid, Sassen, Elan, and a network of shadow companies like PKSA Finance, Baypass Logistics, and others highlights a sophisticated scheme to manipulate VAT refunds, launder money, and facilitate illicit activities. The system exploited the movement of funds through multiple channels under the guise of legitimate transactions, such as gold and tobacco trading, while often operating on falsified documentation. At its core, this scheme not only defrauded the South African Revenue Service of billions in VAT, but also linked key players to larger illicit industries, including gold and tobacco smuggling. The involvement of shadow banks, fake companies, and high-profile individuals like Simon Rudland and Roy Mula further underscores the scale and audacity of the operation. This case exemplifies the urgent need for more robust regulatory oversight, forensic auditing, and international cooperation to dismantle such elaborate financial crimes and hold the perpetrators accountable. Thank you for watching. Kindly like this video, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments section.